Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
That's right. We have reached that moment. I'm sure many of you thought we were never going to see this day because of how bad this looked while these two guys were out. But it was reported yesterday, a little bit after we got off the air, that tonight, when the Phoenix Suns are back in action after having some much-needed time off, they return to the floor for an NBA Cup game against the Lakers tonight. They will be doing so with Kevin Durant and with Bradley Beal in the lineup.
Good for them.
Both of those guys back into the lineup tonight.
It's crazy that they came back so fast.
For the Phoenix Suns. So what probably felt like 3 months, there's only a couple of weeks for Kevin Durant. What felt like 3 weeks was only a couple of days for Bradley Beal. But they are both back in this lineup tonight for the Phoenix Suns. And we now get back to being able to evaluate this team correctly.
Yeah, we can exhale, and so can the Suns' record.
Well, that's true. 9-7, currently sitting in the play-in portion of the Western Conference playoffs as we sit here today. Very nice that they got off to that 8-1 start to be able to build up this cushion to weather this storm. And I don't know if you could say they weathered the storm. They lost, 5-6 in a row going into tonight's contest. So it's not like they were able to deal the counterpunch during this stretch. They just kind of got through it. And here we are tonight with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal back in the lineup tonight for the Phoenix Suns. And we saw when these guys were on the floor together, when they were healthy, we saw how good this team could be. 8-1 to start the season. Really good in the fourth quarter. Really good down the stretch. And then Kevin Durant got hurt. Shortly after that, Bradley Beal went down, and the proverbial wheels fell off this car very quickly. And we pushed back on this show about panicking. We pushed back against the idea of saying that this team can't go anywhere. It was an unfair evaluation to look at this team without Kevin Durant and without Bradley Beal and really glean anything from it. And that's not a great way to be able to watch basketball. It's not necessarily, it doesn't make the days where the Suns play, didn't make them any better because you're going into the evening, getting ready to watch the Suns play basketball, and you kind of know what's going to happen. You know that this isn't the group that it's supposed to be. And so if they lose, you can't really be that upset about it. And it just changes the way you watch these games. It changes the way you feel. I don't know if there's the emotional attachment to a team, to a sport, when a bunch of guys are hurt. If Kyler Murray missed a couple of games for the Phoenix Suns, or for the Arizona Cardinals, it would change the way you would evaluate those games. You wouldn't really give the Cardinals that much of a chance of winning those football games. And so because of that, you would go into it with the expectations set really low. And so if they did lose, it wouldn't ruin your day. And that's kind of where we got with the Phoenix Suns. It was like, okay, we're just kind of letting the calendar days pass us by. We're just waiting for us to be able to circle the day in the calendar when these guys are back and these guys are in the lineup. Now, the coast isn't clear. These guys have to get back into the lineup. They have to pick up right where they left off. They have to do the work. They put themselves in a advantageous situation early by starting the year 8-1. They've dug themselves a little bit of a hole by giving those games away, now sitting at 9-7 in the play-in portion of the Western Conference playoffs. So they have to do the work to put themselves back where they were at the start of the year, 9 games in. But all in all, despite all of that, the hot start, the injuries, this 2 to 3 week stretch that probably felt like a season in and of itself, they've played 16 basketball games. There's 60 plus of them still left on the calendar. A lot of time left for this team to dig themselves out of this hole. But you're not out of the woods. You hope that these guys aren't coming back too soon. You hope that this is the injury bug that's going to hit this team, because you know with Devin Booker, you know with Bradley Beal, you know with Kevin Durant, these things tend to pop up pretty regularly. Nobody had the expectation when the season started that these three guys would play every single game for the Phoenix Suns. The track record with these guys told us we were not going to have the big three, Booker, Durant, Beal, for all of the regular season. We just knew that going in. The question we have to ask ourselves, and it will only get answered as time goes on, was this the stretch where we were going to be without those guys? Because you saw what it looked like. You don't have two of the big three. You got one guy on an island all by himself, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Devin Booker, superstar. Devin Booker on his own can be the lead alpha dog for a team. But this team is built with those three guys in mind. So there is not the auxiliary pieces. There is not the complementary pieces. There's no Robin to Devin Booker's Batman if Durant and Beal are hurt. And so I think tonight we get back. We got sidetracked for a little bit. We had to go on a detour for a little bit. It's like you're going on a road trip and the GPS, it's got to take you a different way because there's a road closure ahead. That's what the Phoenix Suns have been for the last, 7 or 8 games. Just a small little detour. And now it's back on the main highway where previously we were cruising. We were making great time on the GPS. I believe that's my second GPS reference this week.
Seems like it.
Made one yesterday, made another one today. I don't know what it is with me making the car analogy this week, but here we are. It's a weird week. We've got like 1.5 days left. Just buckle up, everybody, okay? I don't know what the next couple days are going to look like show-wise. We could go completely off the rails. Like I said at the top, we have a lot to jam into just the next 2 days. We have to do the Schubert 6 tomorrow, so I got to do the prep work even earlier than normal. There's a lot of weirdness to this week. A lot. We're drafting food in this hour. There's just a lot going on. And you just, that's what holiday weeks provide. Just fun, chaos and fun, and we're going to be all over the place. Should be a lot of fun tonight when the Phoenix Suns are back in action with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal because it now feels true to form. It feels like a fair evaluation. It feels like if they lose tonight to the Lakers, I can come in here and start the show, and I can be mad at the team. I can be angry at the team. We can dissect the performance and talk about it in the big picture. Could we really do that the last couple of games when they didn't have Beal and they didn't have Durant? Could we really do that? Would that be fair to the big picture? Because the big picture for this team is all in the Western Conference playoffs. It is all in the pursuit of winning a championship. That's the big picture. That is the way to view this season. That is the context to view every single game. Is this team on a path to competing for a championship? Is this team championship caliber? That's the lens that we look through this through. If you don't have Durant and you don't have Beal, you're definitely not championship caliber. You're definitely not winning a championship. That's a given. I don't need to watch the games to be able to tell you that. You don't have 2 of your best players. Entire roster is built around 3 guys. You lose 2 of them. That's the story, folks. I mean, that's it. There's nothing to discuss. I don't need to break down fourth quarter defense. I don't need to break down bench scoring, right? Those are things that we need to talk about when everybody's healthy. It's incredibly fair to talk about fourth quarter defense when everybody's on the floor together. It's incredibly fair to talk about where the bench scoring is coming when all 3 guys are healthy. Those are incredibly fair conversations to have. But when those guys are not healthy, when those guys are not around, they're not fair conversations to have because you don't have the team the way you built it to win a championship. And there is no pivot. And I think that's the hard reality to this. That's the hard truth. They have built this team in the way that they have built it. And it's a good team. It's a team that you saw over the first 9 games what they are capable of. But it is a team that is built with a lack of pivot options. If they lose Durant or Beal or Booker for an extended period of time, there's nothing that they can do trade-wise. There's nothing that they can do roster-wise. There's really nobody that they can elevate and give increased minutes to, and it's going to replace the production. They are locked in to crashing and burning or succeeding with those 3 guys, healthy or not healthy. It's that simple. So tonight, after taking the small detour, we get back on track with Durant and Beal back into the lineup, and now we get to evaluate this team the way we were for the first 9 games of the season, and we were very optimistic about the way they were playing over the first 9 games of the season. So we took that small detour, and we are going to get back on track tonight, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of thoughts on tomorrow's show about it after they take on the Lakers.